Highway 285 was a gray wall of rain. Wind pushed water across the empty rest area while my sister idled for effect. She rolled down her window and delivered the line like she'd rehearsed it. "You need to learn your place." I didn't give her a scene. I opened the voice recorder, kept the screen low, and let it grab the engine noise and the bite in her voice. "You think I don't see you?" she said. "Calling lawyers, snooping, acting like you run this family." She tipped her chin at the darkness. "Walk. Clear your head." 40 miles, I said. She'd bragged about that number last week when we passed this exit. I filed it the way soldiers file grid coordinates. She popped the passenger door. Wind shoved rain across the seat. "The army didn't make you smarter, Jordan. It made you arrogant." I stepped out. My boots splashed. I closed the door carefully, because slamming it would be a gift. She watched for fear. I gave her nothing. "Good," she said, window up. "By the time you get home, you'll remember who manages our money." Tires hissed. Red lights smeared into fog. Then it was just rain and a buzzing fluorescent under the bathroom awning. I took a breath, confirmed the recorder had clean silence, and pocketed the phone. The lot was empty. One highway pole cam covered the merge lane. No witnesses. Fine. I walked to the curb and raised my hand shoulder height. 2 slow arcs. 3 minutes later, headlights slid in from the service road. Black F 150. The window dropped. "Noah Briggs, you good?" he asked. "Audio's solid," I said. She gave me the line. "Get in." Heat wrapped around me as I closed the door. He handed me a towel and kept his hands at 10 and 2. "Timestamp," he said. 21:52. Recorder's been running since 43. Defroster cleared the fog. Wipers ticked. He didn't ask if I wanted to spin around and scream. I don't waste breath on speeches. "You want the lot cameras?" he asked. "State dot keeps 30 days. We'll send a preservation letter in the morning," I said. He nodded. "Hotel's ready." Side entrance. We merged toward Denver. Rain hammered the hood. He drove calm, eyes moving, leaving space. My phone buzzed. A geofence alert. "She's headed north," I said. "Home in 40. "Then stick to plan," he said. I put one earbud in and replayed the clip at low volume. Lena sounded pleased. She liked the picture of me trudging along a shoulder in the dark. "How's your backup battery?" Noah asked. 82, recorder at 79, mirroring to the cloud. He gave a quick side look that counted as a smile. "Redundancy is beautiful." "Learned it from you," I said. Signs ticked down. Denver's glow pressed through rain. Noah exited early, cut behind closed offices, and rolled into the side lot of a hotel. We parked under a canopy, out of the front camera's frame. We sat a moment with the heater humming. "Say it once," Noah said. "She wanted fear," I said. "She got nothing." He passed me a Ziploc. "Dry bag." I sealed the phone, hit stop, saved the file with a timestamp name, and typed a note. Audio secured 2,158, US 285 rest area, heavy rain, subject Lena Hayes, statement, "Learn your place." Noah killed the engine. Inside? In a minute. I checked the lobby through the glass. Night clerk at a screen, nobody watching the side door. "Same route," Noah said. "Door, stairs, up 2, right to 4, 12. Oh, we crossed to the entrance. The keycard worked. At the stairs, I listened. No shoes on concrete. We climbed. The security dome camera covered the center. We stayed left. At room 412, Noah handed me the key. I slid it, got the green flash, and pushed in. Standard room. I set the dry bag on the desk, pulled the phone, and backed up the file again over Wi-Fi. Noah wiped the tile by the door so we wouldn't slip. I snapped a photo of the room clock next to the phone screen showing the file name. Chain of custody wins fights you never see. Noah hung my jacket to drip. "Ice?" he asked. "Water first," I said. I sat on the bed. Next steps were routine. Dry clothes, label the audio, verify backups, draft the preservation letter, log the call times. Rain worked the window. Noah checked the peephole and the latch, then opened his notebook. "Tomorrow," he said, "we file the letter to DOT, pull the hotel incident report, and get the front desk statement. I'll request exterior footage from the office park. You get me the call log. Already exported, I said. 27 calls from Lena since dinner. 9 voicemails. He wrote 3 bullets. Dot preservation. Hotel ear. Call log. Anything else? 1 quick photo outside, I said. Awning, rain, timestamp. We stepped back under the canopy and took the shot. Phone with time, edge of awning, wet concrete. Back inside, Noah set a kettle on the desk hot plate. I changed into dry clothes and sealed the wet ones into a plastic bag. He slid a mug toward me. You sure you're okay? He asked. I'm fine, I said. She thinks the storm was the lesson. It wasn't. He nodded. He opened his laptop, created a folder tree, and I dragged the files in. The room settled into the hiss of rain. I titled a blank document, Preservation, Letter, 2158. You want me to call Tara or you? Noah asked. I'll email her the draft, I said. He angled the notebook so I could see the checklist. Simple works. We moved through the items one by one. We saved the letter, added the camera pole ID, set a door wedge, and muted our phones. I slid the recorder into the safe and checked the lock. We didn't need to say what came next. We already had. I slid the recorder into the safe and felt the weight of silence settle. My muscles ached from the long day, but my head was sharper than it had been in months. The Army had drilled discipline into me early. Reserve weekends, active duty deployments, and endless drills taught me how to strip chaos into pieces I could control. Lena always hated that. She used to laugh when I'd line up condiments in perfect rows on the table, calling it boot camp for ketchup. Now that same order was the reason I'd caught her hand in the till. It hadn't started with a storm. It started in my mother's kitchen 6 months ago, a Tuesday afternoon that should have been forgettable. Mom asked me to heat soup, and while I searched the pantry, I found an envelope marked trust documents crammed between canned beans. My mother never handled paperwork. That was Lena's obsession. Inside the envelope were pages with Mom's shaky signature attached to a property transfer. Our grandmother's lake cabin shifted under Lena's name. The notary stamp was real. The date matched a morning Mom barely remembered making coffee. I took photos, sent them to myself, and asked no questions. Soldiers know when to stay quiet. 2 weeks later, the utility bill for the family house arrived late. Lena claimed the bank made a mistake, but the statement showed $25,000 withdrawn from the trust. Routine maintenance, she said. Roof repairs, contractors, blah blah. No contractor existed. I checked the county records, nothing filed. The military gives you a habit of pattern recognition. My sister's patterns were sloppy. Sudden new clothes, weekend trips to Vail, a new Lexus with plates registered to her shell, LLC. She thought paperwork buried in file cabinets meant safety. She forgot about cloud drives, about metadata, about someone like me who logged troop supply counts at 2 a.m. in Kandahar without losing track. Still, calling her out head-on was suicide. Lena had charm that fooled neighbors, board members, even pastors. She ran on intimidation. I'd seen her reduce a cousin to tears over a Thanksgiving pie crust. In family politics, she was the self-appointed general. I started building my own chain of command. First came Noah, who'd stayed in Colorado after active duty. He knew surveillance better than most cops. When I told him Lena was moving trust money, he didn't ask if I was sure. He asked what timeline I had. Next was Priya Desai, a forensic accountant I met through a veterans networking event. Sharp, soft-spoken, the kind of woman who treated spreadsheets like x-rays. I slid the lake cabin deed across her table at a coffee shop. She didn't flinch. This isn't maintenance, she said. It's conversion of assets, and your mother wasn't competent to consent. She agreed to dig, quietly, after hours. Last came Tara Kim, a law school friend who thrived on fights most attorneys ducked. She'd moved into elder law, exactly the niche Lena thought no one cared about. Tara smirked when I told her. Your sister picked the wrong decade. Courts are cracking down on financial abuse. If she coerced your mom, I'll bury her with paperwork. So Operation Family Truth formed, not in a bunker, but over mismatched coffees and encrypted group chats. My part was command and signal. Noah handled execution, Priya handled sustainment, Tara provided legal fire. The first order was surveillance. Noah set up discrete cams under the pretense of updating Mom's home security. The footage rolled to a remote server we controlled. Within a month, we had clips of Lena guiding Mom's pen over dotted lines, whispering prompts like a stage director. Just sign here, Mom. It's for taxes. You don't want the IRS after you, do you? The second order was financial mapping. Priya traced withdrawals from the trust into a Wyoming LLC Hayes Consulting, no clients, no employees. From there, the money split into cashier's checks and wires to luxury retailers. Priya shook her head. This is amateur hour. She's not even trying to launder it properly. The third order was legal prep. Tara began drafting a motion for emergency injunction, the kind that freezes assets before they vanish. Judges need a hook, she said. Audio of coercion, video of abandonment, proof of offshore transfers. We build a package no one can ignore. I kept my role clear. Document, document, document. Every call log, every bank slip, every errand Lena dragged Mom on. Soldiers know evidence wins more battles than rifles. But family drama doesn't stay tidy. Cousins whispered about Jordan snooping. Aunt Sylvia told me I should stop making trouble and trust Lena's judgment. The neighborhood grapevine painted me as the bitter veteran who couldn't adjust to civilian life. I smiled, nodded, and filed their gossip as free opposition research. Mom drifted in and out of clarity. On good days, she'd ask about my last drill weekend, proud of my service. On bad days, she'd sign anything Lena put in front of her. That guilt chewed at me more than any deployment. I wasn't fighting insurgents overseas. I was watching my own sister strip our mother of dignity with a ballpoint pen. The final push came 3 hours before the storm. We'd been at dinner, a fake sister's night out. Lena insisted on to keep appearances. Steakhouse lighting, overpriced cocktails, her laughing too loud. She toasted to family unity. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a cloud alert. Another withdrawal, 10 grand, wired to a jewelry boutique. Same afternoon. I let her order dessert, nodding like a dutiful younger sister. Inside, I cataloged everything. The receipt, the timestamp, the way she tipped in cash to avoid paper trails. By the time she pulled the car toward the mountain exit, I already knew she'd try something dramatic. She thrived on power plays. She wanted humiliation. The kind she could retell at family gatherings as a cautionary tale about me overstepping. So when the passenger door cracked open in that rain-blown rest area, I stepped out without hesitation. My boots soaked instantly, my jacket plastered to my arms. But my spine stayed straight. Lena revved the engine, rolled her window up, and left me with the storm. She thought she'd written the final act. She never realized I'd already put the opening scene on record. The first thing I did after the storm incident was lock down my notes. If Lena wanted to play dirty, I was going to treat her the way I treated any hostile target overseas by running a full operation. We needed to formalize our structure. I set up our first meeting at Noah's garage, which doubled as a command post. A battered folding table sat under fluorescent lights, surrounded by boxes of camping gear and old ammo cans. I pinned a map of Denver on the corkboard, with red flags marking Lena's house, Mom's address, the bank branch she used, and the courthouse. Situation, I started standing like I was back at drill. Adversary, Lena Hayes. She controls the Hayes Family Trust, valued at approximately $1.8 million. Indicators of fraud, unauthorized withdrawals, coerced signatures, shell companies. Vulnerabilities, sloppy accounting, reliance on Mom's diminished capacity, arrogance. Noah leaned back, arms crossed. Mission? Our mission is to expose Lena's financial abuse, secure legal control of the trust, and protect Mom's remaining assets. We will collect admissible evidence, deliver it to counsel, and execute a courtroom strike that eliminates her leverage. Priya scribbled on a yellow pad. Execution plan? I pointed to the board. Noah, you'll maintain surveillance. Cameras at Mom's house, logs of Lena's visits, timestamps. Priya, you'll run forensic accounting, follow the money, build charts simple enough for a judge to grasp. Tara, you'll draft legal filings and prep for emergency injunction. I'll coordinate, ensure chain of custody, and manage signals. Nothing leaves our hands without redundancy. Tara smirked. This is the first time I've been assigned like I'm on a platoon roster. Get used to it, I said. Noah tapped his notebook. Sustainment? We keep backups in 3 places. Encrypted drive, cloud, and hard copy stored off. Cite. Redundancy at every step. We treat evidence like ammo. Lose one, you still fight. Priya looked impressed. And you said command and signal? Chain of command, I'm lead. Tara covers legal. Priya handles finance. Noah covers security. Signals. Encrypted chat. Burner phones for sensitive transfers. Daily check-in at 2,000 hours. Breach protocols. If one channel goes down, default to in-person at this location. There was silence for a moment. Even Tara, who loved to crack jokes, just nodded. Questions? I asked. Yeah, Noah said. What's our timeline? Short, I replied. She's bleeding money fast. The trust account has dropped $100,000 in 6 months. We can't let it run dry. We push for evidence gathering within 60 days, injunction by 90. Priya tapped her pen. That means I need bank subpoenas sooner than later. I'll get Tara what she needs, I said. But first, we bait her. Noah raised an eyebrow. Bait? She thrives on control, I explained. If I act submissive, she'll push harder. We let her think she's broken me. That's when she gets sloppy. Tara frowned. That's risky. So is combat, I said. But we don't win by playing defense. The meeting went another hour. We hashed out scenarios. What if Lena forged new documents? What if she tried to sell property outright? What if she threatened Mom directly? Noah sketched flowcharts. Priya drew money trails. Tara flagged legal loopholes. By the end, the board looked like a battlefield map, arrows converging on Lena's name, circled in red. When we broke for the night, Noah stayed behind to check the cams. Priya left with a thumb drive full of statements. Tara tucked her laptop under her arm and shot me a look. Your sister doesn't know it, but she's already in Discovery. Driving home, I realized how different this felt from my deployments. Overseas, you expected hostility. You geared up knowing the enemy wanted you dead. But fighting your own blood, it demanded a colder kind of endurance. At Mom's house the next morning, Lena was cheerful, brewing coffee like nothing had happened. She kissed Mom on the cheek, glanced at me, and said, "Feeling better after your little walk?" I smiled, bland as toast. "Much better." She narrowed her eyes, searching for anger, but found none. Good. She'd underestimate me again. Later, I walked Mom out to the porch and checked the hidden camera Noah had mounted under the eaves. Solid feed, clean angle on the dining table. The next time Lena slid a contract across to Mom, we'd have her. By week's end, Priya had traced 3 more withdrawals into the Wyoming LLC. She's funneling cash through cashier's checks, she told me. No legitimate business spends this way. I can chart every dollar. It looks like money laundering, but badly done. Tara's draft injunction was ready too. The moment we get video of coercion or proof of another large withdrawal, I file. Judges love patterns. 1 bad act is an error. 3 bad acts are intent. The operation was no longer theoretical. It was active. And Lena had no idea she was already walking straight into a trap. The first real break came on a Friday evening. Noah texted me a still shot from the porch camera. Lena sliding a thick packet across the table to Mom, pen in hand. Her smile looked casual, but her body leaned in hard, the way people do when they're pressuring someone who doesn't want to cooperate. By the time I got to the house, Noah already had the recording queued. We watched it on his laptop, the grainy audio catching Lena's syrupy tone. "Come on, Mom, just sign here. It's a simple update. Jordan doesn't need to worry about these things. You know how busy she is with the army. I'll take care of everything. You trust me, don't you?" Mom's voice shook. I don't like signing things I don't understand. Lena slid the pen closer. "It's just paperwork to protect you. If you don't sign, we could lose the house. Don't you want me to keep everything safe?" Noah hit pause. "Classic coercion," he said flatly. I leaned forward, studying every frame. "That's it. That's what we needed." Priya's eyes lit up when I sent her the clip. "This isn't just evidence, it's gold. You've got elder abuse, undue influence, and intent to defraud all in one neat package. If Tara files with this plus the bank records, a judge won't just freeze assets, she'll put Lena under a microscope." We spent the next 48 hours cataloging every detail. Priya built a flowchart that showed the exact timeline of withdrawals and signatures. Each line ended with Lena's fingerprints, whether it was a cashier's check, a forged document, or her presence at the bank with Mom. Tara drafted the injunction paperwork and added an emergency petition. With this, we're not just freezing the trust, we're asking the court to remove Lena as trustee and appoint you as interim manager until the case is resolved. Judges love giving authority to the responsible sibling, especially when one's military. They eat that discipline and duty angle right up. I didn't smile, but I felt a sharp satisfaction. For once, being the rule-following soldier was going to pay off in civilian life. Meanwhile, Noah wasn't satisfied with one camera angle. He'd installed 3 more, one in the living room, one in the kitchen, and a hidden mic near the phone Mom used. He also shadowed Lena to the bank, catching her on video walking out with envelopes she didn't explain. She's not even trying to hide it anymore, he told me over takeout burritos. Arrogance is her Achilles heel. The following Monday, Lena overplayed her hand. She showed up at Mom's place with a manila envelope and a lawyer in tow. The lawyer looked fresh out of law school, the type who'd take any client with a checkbook. They sat at the dining table, Lena practically glowing as she pushed another set of documents forward. "Mom, this is Mr. Talbot," she chirped. "He's helping us with the transfer paperwork. Just some routine stuff, sign here and it'll all be official." Noah's camera caught the whole exchange. Mom hesitated, shaking her head. "I don't want to sign anything without Jordan." Lena's voice turned sharp. "Jordan doesn't need to be involved. She's too busy pretending to be a hero in uniform. She doesn't understand how real money works. Do you want to risk losing everything because of her stubborn pride?" That line sealed it. I knew exactly how Tara would frame it, discrediting me as a soldier while manipulating Mom to sign. It was a textbook example of undue influence. When Tara saw the footage, she whistled. "Jordan, this isn't just enough for an injunction. This could trigger criminal investigation if we push it right. You're not dealing with just family drama anymore, you're looking at wire fraud, elder financial abuse, maybe even conspiracy if we can tie in her little lawyer buddy." Priya agreed. This is the kind of evidence prosecutors beg for. She might have just walked herself into a felony. Still, we didn't rush. Like any mission, timing mattered. Filing too soon could tip her off before we secured all assets. Filing too late could give her time to drain what was left. So we set the bait deeper. I played the part of the broken sister, calling Lena and apologizing for being difficult. "You were right," I said over the phone, voice carefully weak. "I don't understand the money stuff. I'll back off. Just take care of Mom. I won't interfere." Her laugh was triumphant. "See? That wasn't so hard. Just let me handle things. You focus on your army play acting." Now, I hung up with my stomach tight, but Noah clapped me on the shoulder. "That's the hook. She thinks you're down. Now she'll go all in." Sure enough, within a week, Priya spotted a huge movement. $45,000 pulled from the trust and wired to a new account under Lena's name. "That's not even subtle," Priya said, shaking her head. "She's accelerating. She thinks you've rolled over." Tara smiled thinly. "Perfect. Judges hate arrogance. Let's file." No. We assembled the package like soldiers prepping for inspection. Video clips, transcripts, forensic charts, notarized statements. Noah even printed timestamp stills to blow up for the courtroom. Everything was triple-checked, signed, and sealed. The night before filing, we gathered again at Noah's garage. The corkboard map was now covered in evidence sheets. Lena's name sat in the middle, surrounded by arrows pointing to fraud, coercion, theft. "This is it," I said, standing with my arms crossed. "We've got her boxed in. Tomorrow Tara files. By the end of the week, she won't control a single dollar." Priya leaned back, exhaustion in her eyes but a grin on her face. "Jordan, you realize this is one of the cleanest cases I've ever worked. Most families show up with gossip and emotion. You showed up with chain of custody, surveillance, and an OPORD. If the judge doesn't grant this, she's blind." Noah raised a soda can. "To the mission." We clinked cans like soldiers around a field table. But I knew this wasn't the endgame. Filing would draw blood, yes, but it would also trigger Lena's counterattack. And with her personality, she wouldn't go down quietly. When I drove home, rain was starting again, streaking across the windshield. It felt like déjà vu, but this time I wasn't abandoned in a storm. This time, I was the one choosing the battlefield. The courthouse smelled faintly of disinfectant and old wood polish, the kind of place that promised order but usually delivered chaos. Tara walked ahead of me, heels clicking like a metronome, a thick binder tucked under her arm. Noah flanked my other side, his phone loaded with video files, while Priya had 3 color-coded folders stacked in her hands like ammunition. We weren't there for drama, we were there for a strike. The clerk barely looked up when Tara announced, "Emergency petition in the matter of Hayes v. Hayes Trust." But the moment she opened the binder and revealed the exhibit's video stills of Lena pressing a pen into Mom's trembling hand, time-stamped withdrawals, text messages bragging about teaching Jordan a lesson, the clerk's eyes widened. Within minutes, we were moved to a side courtroom where Judge Elena Park presided. Judge Park wasn't the type to waste words. She adjusted her glasses, skimmed the first page of Tara's motion, and glanced at Lena, who sat across from us with a smirk that made my skin crawl. "Miss Hayes," the judge began, "I'm looking at allegations of financial mismanagement, coercion, and abandonment. Do you have counsel?" Lena's lawyer stood. Mid-30 seconds, shiny suit, nervous eyes. "Your Honor, we only received notice of this hearing 2 hours ago. We request a continuance." "Denied." Judge Park cut him off. "This is an emergency motion regarding elder financial abuse. We will proceed." Tara rose, calm and lethal. "Your Honor, the evidence shows a clear pattern of exploitation. First, surveillance footage of the respondent coercing their mother into signing documents she clearly didn't understand. She signaled Noah, who tapped his phone. The courtroom filled with Lena's recorded voice. "Just sign here, Mom. It's for taxes. Don't you trust me?" Mom's hesitant reply played faintly through the speakers. "I don't like signing things I don't understand." The judge's expression hardened. Tara flipped to the next exhibit. Second, forensic accounting shows $85,000 removed from the family trust over the last 6 months. Funds were funneled through a shell, LLC, then converted into luxury purchases. Priya slid forward, opening her folders. "Here are the bank statements, wire transfers, and receipts. Each withdrawal lines up with a transaction directly benefiting Lena Hayes' designer jewelry, vacations, a new vehicle, not a cent spent on legitimate maintenance." The judge leafed through the papers silently, her pen scratching notes. Tara wasn't finished. "Third, we present audio recordings of the respondent abandoning her sister in a remote rest stop during a severe storm, 37 miles from home. She justified this as a lesson, and to 40. The clip played, Lena's tone dripping with contempt. "Remember this, Jordan. Remember who put you here." Even Lena's attorney shifted uncomfortably at that. Lena herself didn't flinch. She leaned back, arms crossed, lips curved in defiance. "Your Honor, that was family drama. My sister exaggerates everything. She's manipulating this court because she's jealous. I handle the finances." Judge Park fixed her with a stare sharp enough to cut glass. Family drama does not excuse elder exploitation, nor does it excuse reckless endangerment. Tara pressed the advantage. "We're requesting an immediate freeze of all assets under Lena Hayes' control, removal of her as trustee, and appointment of my client, Captain Jordan Hayes, as interim trustee. Further, we ask the court to restrict Lena from any contact with the trust accounts pending investigation." The judge didn't deliberate long. She closed the binder, set it aside, and spoke with crisp authority. "Motion granted. Effective immediately. All accounts are frozen. Lena Hayes is removed as trustee. Jordan Hayes is appointed interim trustee with fiduciary authority to protect assets. Additionally, this court issues a protective order. Lena Hayes is prohibited from accessing family property or contacting her mother regarding financial matters until further review." The gavel hit like a hammer strike. Lena shot to her feet. "This is outrageous. She's spinning lies to steal from me. I've been the one taking care of Mom all these years while she plays soldier." Judge Park's gaze didn't waver. "Sit down, Miss Hayes. One more outburst and I'll hold you in contempt." Her lawyer tugged her sleeve, urging compliance. Lena sat, jaw clenched so tight, I thought her teeth might crack. On our side of the room, Priya exhaled for the first time all morning. "That's it. Accounts frozen. She can't touch another dollar." End of quote. Noah tapped his phone again, sending copies of the order to secure cloud storage. "That's our green light. She's boxed in." I stayed still, back straight, hands folded on the table. Military training doesn't teach you to celebrate in the middle of a mission. It teaches you to stay vigilant. Because victories this clean don't come without counterattacks. Outside the courtroom, reporters were already circling, tipped off by someone, probably Lena herself, trying to spin the narrative. Cameras flashed as they shouted over each other. "Jordan, is it true your sister abandoned you in a storm? Was this a setup to steal control of the trust? Is the army aware of your family scandal?" Tara shielded me with her briefcase like a riot shield. "No comment," she said firmly, guiding me through the throng. Noah cleared a path, broad shoulders parting the chaos, while Priya kept her eyes glued to her phone, already monitoring Lena's financial accounts for unusual pings. By the time we reached the parking lot, Lena was behind us, snarling at the cameras. "She's lying. She's always been jealous of me." Her voice cracked on the word jealous, the first slip in her composure. Reporters ate it up, microphones lunging closer. In the car, Tara turned to me. "She'll go to the press. She'll play the victim, paint you as the aggressive sister using military rank to intimidate her. Be ready." Noah started the engine. "Let her talk. Every word she says just digs her deeper. We've got the evidence. She's got theatrics." I watched the courthouse shrink in the rearview mirror, rain clouds still heavy above it. For the first time in months, the balance of power had shifted. But Lena never lost quietly. She'd come out swinging, louder and dirtier than before. And we'd be ready. The first headline hit less than 24 hours after Judge Park's ruling. Local businesswoman accused of defrauding mother, sister, an army reservist, takes control of trust. Lena's face was plastered across the local news site, a stock photo from a charity gala where she'd posed with a flute of champagne and her favorite diamond necklace. By breakfast, 3 more outlets had copied the story, all quoting the same line from the court order: abandonment, financial coercion, and removal as trustee. I was sipping burnt hotel coffee when Noah slid his phone across the table. "She's already on television." The clip showed Lena outside her lawyer's office, crocodile tears streaming as she clutched tissues for effect. "I've sacrificed everything for this family. My sister doesn't understand responsibility. She's always run off to play soldier while I stayed home to care for Mom. Now she's weaponizing the courts to punish me." The reporter nodded gravely, but Noah muted the sound. "She's good at crying on cue. But notice her hands?" I looked closer. Her grip on the tissues was tight, knuckles white. Noah smirked. "That's panic, not grief." By noon, the fire spread. Social media churned out hashtags, number trust fund war and number sisters at war. Cousins I hadn't heard from in years posted vague statuses about family betrayal. Old classmates chimed in with prayers, thinly disguised as gossip. Then came the first real blow. A woman named Eleanor Pike, 82, went on record. She told a local paper that Lena had managed her late husband's estate as a favor 2 years ago, and that $200,000 had mysteriously vanished. Priya nearly choked on her sandwich reading the article. "This is a gift, independent corroboration, a whole new victim. If Eleanor's claims hold, Lena's not just defrauding family, she's running a pattern." Tara immediately filed to amend the petition, citing emerging victims. Judges loved a pattern, and now we had one. But Lena wasn't rolling over. She launched a counteroffensive through a glossy PR firm, flooding outlets with her narrative: a jealous sister, a controlling military type, a woman desperate for attention. One cable segment even flashed my Army Reserve headshot while a panel debated whether my rigid military mindset made me unsuited for delicate family matters. I stared at the screen, jaw tight. Noah clicked it off. "Let them talk. You know better than anyone. Propaganda works until the facts roll in." And the facts were rolling faster than Lena could bury them. Valentina Priya's contact from a forensic group sent over a file with Lena's offshore movements. She'd found wires totaling $4.5 million spread across accounts in the Cayman Islands and Belize. None of it declared. None of it defensible. Priya shook her head. "This isn't just civil fraud. This is criminal. She's crossed into federal jurisdiction." That night, Lena made her boldest move yet, a primetime interview with Channel 7. Dressed in black, pearls at her neck, she painted herself as the misunderstood caregiver. "My sister Jordan has always resented me. She thinks wearing a uniform makes her superior. But when it comes to caring for our mother, where has she been? Nowhere. I've been the one paying bills, handling doctors, keeping our family afloat. And this is my thanks public humiliation." The anchor leaned in. Did you abandon her at a rest stop, as alleged? Lena's eyes flickered, but she forced a laugh. Of course not. She stormed out during an argument. She left me. I'm not responsible for her choices. Noah muted the television. She's lying to millions, on record. Judges will eat that alive. Still, the damage spread. Neighbors started whispering. At the grocery store, 2 women stared while I grabbed milk, their whispers sharp enough to slice. That's her, the soldier's sister. The one suing her own blood. I didn't flinch. Soldiers don't break formation under fire. But I logged every glance, every comment. Public opinion wasn't my battlefield, but I knew it mattered. The real battlefield stayed in the evidence. Priya uncovered doctored tax returns where Lena had inflated maintenance costs by 300%, funneling the difference into her LLC. Tara filed a motion to expand discovery. Noah pulled footage of Lena meeting with a contractor, who turned out to be her boyfriend, cash changing hands in the driveway. Each piece layered tighter around her. But Lena was resourceful. She staged a community fundraiser for seniors, cameras rolling as she handed out donated blankets. See? She cooed into the microphone. I've always been dedicated to protecting the elderly. These accusations are painful lies. Priya's sarcasm was dry enough to cut glass. Nothing screams innocence like buying goodwill with fleece throws from Walmart. Then came the texts. Cousin after cousin messaged me. Why are you attacking Lena? She said you're taking everything. Is this about Dad's inheritance? I saved everyone. The turning point arrived when Eleanor Pike's niece reached out to Tara. She had copies of checks Lena had written to herself from Eleanor's account. Memo line. Consulting fee. Tara grinned like a wolf. This is slam dunk material. We'll file supplemental evidence tomorrow. Noah leaned back in his chair. Lena wanted a media war. She forgot evidence, doesn't care about public relations. I stayed quiet, watching the storm outside my window. Lena was spinning hard, clawing for control, but the harder she fought, the more cracks appeared. By Friday, federal investigators called Tara's office. They wanted everything: bank statements, surveillance, testimony. Lena wasn't just facing a civil freeze anymore. She was on the radar of people who didn't play games. And the dominoes, once they start falling, never stop. The first sign of Lena's desperation came in a thick envelope left on my porch. No return address, but inside was a stack of photocopied documents showing me as the one who drained Mom's accounts. Signatures that were supposedly mine, authorization letters with my name, even a fake loan application listing me as the borrower. Noah studied the papers under a desk lamp, lips twitching with disbelief. She actually thinks this will hold up? These signatures don't even look like yours. Priya leaned in. Not just sloppy, downright careless. The notary stamp she used belongs to a guy who lost his license 2 years ago for fraud. Judges hate recycled stamps. This is going to backfire spectacularly. Still, I scanned and cataloged everything. Fake evidence was evidence too proof of intent to obstruct. 2 days later, Lena staged another move. She appeared on a morning talk show with her lawyer, waving the same stack of forged documents. My sister has been siphoning money for months, she declared, eyes shining with false sincerity. These papers prove it. She's trying to frame me to cover her tracks. The host nodded sympathetically, but then cut to a clip. Channel 7 had obtained Noah's footage of Lena pushing a pen into Mom's hand. The contrast was brutal. Lena's jaw clenched, but she forced a smile. This is taken out of context, she insisted. I was helping Mom with routine tax forms. The host raised an eyebrow, during which she said she didn't understand what she was signing. For the first time, Lena looked rattled. When Tara saw the segment, she nearly laughed. That, ladies and gentlemen, is called self-immolation. She paraded forged documents on national television. That alone will trigger sanctions if we play it right. But Lena wasn't done. She shifted tactics from media spin to intimidation. That evening, my phone buzzed with unknown numbers, threatening voicemails, heavy breathing, even one message that said, "Soldiers can fall too." Noah traced the call's burner phones, all purchased with cash in the same county where Lena's boyfriend lived. She's sloppy, Noah muttered. If she thinks harassment will scare you, she's forgotten who you are. Priya added more bad news. Lena had filed a counter-petition in civil court, accusing me of elder abuse. She claimed I was manipulating Mom into turning against her. Tara read the filing with a bitter laugh. Projection, plain and simple. Classic tactic: accuse your accuser of the exact same crime. Judges have seen it 1,000 times, but it'll still drag us into more hearings. Meanwhile, Lena's social media campaign went into overdrive. She posted teary videos about being betrayed by my own sister, framed selfies with mom from years ago, quotes about loyalty. Thousands of comments poured in, half supportive, half calling her a con artist. I stayed silent. Every soldier knows sometimes the strongest move is to hold position. But silence didn't mean inaction. Noah dug deeper into Lena's boyfriend's background. Turns out, he wasn't just a contractor. He had priors for fraud and had changed his name twice. The footage of him pocketing cash in the driveway suddenly looked a lot more like conspiracy. Priya connected another dot. Remember that Aspen jewelry purchase? Guess whose name is on the delivery slip? Not Lena. It's him. She's funneling stolen money into assets he collects. That's money laundering, Jordan. The three of us sat in Noah's garage staring at the evidence wall. The web of strings and photos looked like something out of a detective drama, except this was no fiction. Lena wasn't just greedy, she was reckless. And now she was pulling outsiders into the scheme. The final straw came at the next court hearing. Lena's lawyer strutted in with the forged documents, acting as if they were smoking guns. Tara stood, arms crossed, and let him dig his own grave. These forms show Captain Jordan Hayes authorizing withdrawals. They prove she was complicit. Judge Park barely glanced before handing them back. Counsel, are you aware this notary stamp belongs to a man who lost his commission 2 years ago? The lawyer blinked. We believe the documents are still valid? The judge's voice cut like steel. Presenting fraudulent documents in my courtroom is grounds for sanctions. Do it again, and I will refer you to the bar. Lena's face flushed crimson. Her lawyer slumped, shuffling papers like a rookie caught cheating. Tara leaned toward me, whispering, "That was a gift." Outside, reporters swarmed again. Microphones thrust forward. "Jordan, did your sister try to frame you? How do you respond to allegations of elder abuse?" I kept my voice steady. "I'll respond in court, with facts, not on the courthouse steps." Noah smirked as we pushed through the crowd. That's going to play 10 times better on the evening news than her meltdown. Later that night, Priya sent a text with just 3 words. She's cornered now. But a cornered opponent is the most dangerous. Lena had lost credibility in court, embarrassed herself on live television, and failed to intimidate me with harassment, which meant her next move would be even more reckless. And recklessness in her hands wasn't just self-destruction, it was collateral damage waiting to happen. The call came just after dawn on a Tuesday. Tara's voice was sharp, urgent. "Jordan, the Bureau is in. They've opened a federal case file. They want to meet today." And, quote, I was already lacing my boots, muscle memory from years of 0500 wake-ups. Location? Downtown field office. 2 agents. They've reviewed Priya's forensic packet, and they think Lena's not just dabbling in family fraud, she's crossed into interstate wire territory. By the time I arrived, Noah was leaning against his truck outside the glass front building, coffee in hand, scanning the street like we were back on patrol. Inside, the air smelled like printer toner and burnt coffee. The walls were lined with framed commendations, the kind you find in every federal office. Agent Tom Alvarez, mid-40 seconds, calm eyes but no wasted words, introduced himself. His partner, Agent Kimberly Shaw, tapped a folder thick enough to break a desk. "This is your sister's mess. We've been watching offshore accounts tied to boutique fund managers. Lena's fingerprints are all over them." Priya slid her laptop across the table. "Here's the money trail. $4.5 million moved over 18 months. Cayman Islands, Belize, Luxembourg. Always in round numbers, always just under reporting thresholds. Classic structuring." Alvarez scanned the screen, jaw tightening. "She's not careful. That works for us. But here's the problem. She's not doing this alone. Your boyfriend? Contractor friend? He's connected to 2 prior cases involving forged property transfers. We think Lena tapped him for signatures." I kept my arms folded, tone steady. "What do you need from me?" Agent Shaw leaned in. "Testimony. Evidence chain. Everything you've gathered, video, audio, texts. We're filing probable cause affidavits for asset seizure. But federal judges want airtight. We need you to lock down anything Lena could claim was tampered with. Noah passed over the encrypted drive. Every clip is time-stamped, metadata preserved. Chain of custody documented. We treat it like an op. Shaw smiled faintly. That's better than half the local PD gives us. Hi. Tara added. And we've got a judge already on record freezing assets. State orders plus federal overlay? Lena won't wiggle out. Alvarez nodded. We'll move fast. The moment we file, she'll know. Expect pushback. He wasn't exaggerating. That afternoon, Lena staged another press stunt standing outside the courthouse with her lawyer, holding a Bible for effect. These baseless accusations are tearing our family apart, she declared. My sister is using her military background to bully me in court. Now she's dragged in federal agents. This is harassment. The cameras ate it up, but the tone had shifted. Reporters weren't nodding as much. They'd seen the footage, the court orders, the forged documents. Her act was wearing thin. Back at Noah's garage, Priya flipped her laptop to a fresh set of charts. She's panicking. Today alone, she tried to access 3 accounts already under freeze orders. Each failed attempt is logged. Judges love that it shows consciousness of guilt. Tara smirked. And contempt of court. If she keeps it up, we can push for sanctions before trial. But the real bombshell dropped the next morning. Alvarez called again. We've got offshore subpoenas back. One account in the Caymans is in your cousin's name, Jennifer Hayes. Your sister funneled $600,000 there last year. I felt my jaw tighten. Jennifer, our cousin who'd always flirted with debt, the one Lena treated like a pet project. You're saying Jen's involved? Maybe knowingly, maybe not, but the account lists her as beneficiary. We'll need her testimony one way or another. That evening, Jennifer showed up at my door, pale and trembling. Jordan, I swear I didn't know. Lena said she was helping me pay off credit cards. She told me not to ask questions. I thought it was legal. I didn't hug her. I didn't yell. I just handed her a glass of water and said, "Then you'll need to tell the truth. On record." Jennifer nodded, tears streaking her face. "I'll do it. I can't cover for her anymore." Noah watched from the kitchen doorway, arms crossed. Smart move. Agents already know. Better you come clean than wait for a subpoena. Jennifer left shaking, but lighter somehow. For the first time, I saw her separate from Lena's shadow. 2 days later, we sat in a federal conference room as Agent Shaw laid out the game plan. We're convening a grand jury next month. We'll subpoena Jennifer, Eleanor Pike, and other victims. Priya, your forensic analysis will be central. Jordan, your testimony about the abandonment, recordings, and chain of evidence will lock the narrative. Tara, you'll advise on family trust law. Noah, we may need you to authenticate surveillance. Alvarez added, this isn't just about your sister anymore. She's part of a broader pattern we've tracked across 5 states. A network of fund managers draining elderly estates. She might not be the mastermind, but she's in deep, and we intend to roll the entire operation. The room went still. Even Tara, usually unflappable, raised her brows. 5 states? Alvarez nodded. This case could set precedent. Wire fraud, elder abuse, conspiracy. If it sticks, she's looking at 20 years minimum. I sat back, steadying my breath. I thought of Mom, of the lake cabin, of the storm where Lena left me in the rain like I was disposable. And I thought of every soldier I'd served with who knew one truth. Missions are won by discipline, not rage. So I answered calmly. You'll have everything you need. Shaw closed the folder. Good. Because once we move, there's no turning back. And your sister? She's going to fight like hell. That night, walking back to my car under flickering streetlights, I could already feel the shift. This wasn't a family squabble anymore. It was federal. It was criminal. And Lena had just become the target of something bigger than even she could manipulate. The federal courthouse in Denver didn't look like a battlefield, but that's exactly what it was. Grand jury days were stripped of theatrics, no cameras, no reporters, no gallery full of rubbernecking neighbors. Just a paneled room, 12 jurors, a prosecutor, and the slow grind of evidence. Assistant U.S. Attorney Michael Torres led the charge. He started with Eleanor Pike, who shuffled in with her cane, but spoke with the steady clarity of someone who'd waited 2 years to tell her story. She described how Lena convinced her to sign a routine authorization, that drained her late husband's retirement account. She even brought copies of the checks Lena wrote to herself, signed in shaky script under false pretenses. Then came Jennifer. She looked like she hadn't slept in weeks, clutching a crumpled tissue. Torres walked her gently through the timeline. The debts, the offer from Lena, the Cayman account. She said she was protecting me, Jennifer whispered. She told me Jordan would judge me if I found out. I didn't realize she was using my name to move money overseas. I swear I didn't know. Torres leaned on the silence, letting jurors watch Jennifer's trembling hands. It worked. Sympathy flowed toward her, not Lena. When it was my turn, I stood at parade, rest out of instinct. Torres smiled faintly at the stance, but let me proceed. I laid out the storm night, the drive, the order to get out, the 37 miles between me and home. I played the recording on my phone, Lena's voice crisp. Remember this, Jordan. Remember who put you here. Jurors leaned forward. One woman's jaw clenched. A man scribbled notes furiously. Then I detailed the pattern. Forged deeds, false withdrawals, intimidation of Mom. I explained how Noah had installed the cameras, how Priya traced the wires, how Tara built the injunction. Torres finished by showing stills of Lena's boyfriend taking cash envelopes in the driveway. By the time I stepped down, the jurors' faces told me what I needed. They believed it. Torres rapped with the kicker. This is not just sibling rivalry. This is organized financial crime. We are seeking indictment on charges of wire fraud, elder abuse, and conspiracy. End quote. 2 hours later, the foreman signed the bill. Lena was officially indicted. The news hit the wire that evening. Grand jury indicts local woman on federal fraud charges. Lena's glossy PR machine sputtered, trying to keep up. She released a statement calling the indictment a political witch hunt fueled by jealous family members. But the cracks were obvious. Even her lawyer looked strained, avoiding cameras as much as possible. Neighbors who once whispered now crossed the street when they saw her. Donations to her caregiver foundation dried up overnight. But the real collapse came from inside. A half-dozen of her former clients, widows, retirees, even a disabled veteran came forward to Priya with stories. Each one described the same playbook. Lena offering to manage their finances, promising tax savings, then draining accounts with fabricated fees. Priya logged everything. This is systemic. She didn't just target family, she built a side hustle on exploiting the vulnerable. Tara's eyes gleamed with purpose. Federal judges despise elder abuse. With this many victims, sentencing guidelines go sky high. Meanwhile, Lena tried another counterstrike. Her lawyer filed motions claiming my surveillance violated privacy, that Priya's forensics were biased, that Tara had a conflict of interest as my friend. Judge Coleman, who now oversaw the federal case, shredded the motions in 10 minutes flat. Evidence collected under valid consent of the homeowner stands. Forensic accounting reviewed by federal agents stands. And friendships are not conflicts when supported by verifiable data. Motion denied. Lena stormed out of the hearing, cameras flashing as she snapped. This is all fabricated. Her voice cracked mid-sentence, and the clip ran on repeat across evening broadcasts. Public opinion shifted decisively. Local talk radio hosts called her a predator in pearls. A Denver Post op-ed branded her the face of financial elder abuse. Even her boyfriend disappeared from view. Noah discovered he'd quietly left town, ditching his construction business overnight. Through it all, Mom stayed at the care facility, shielded from the chaos. I visited after the indictment, sitting by her bed. On a rare clear day, she squeezed my hand. Your father always said truth wins slow but steady. I'm proud of you, Jordan. Her words anchored me more than any medal I'd ever earned. But victories came with collateral. Cousins who once smiled at family barbecues now sent venomous emails calling me a traitor for airing dirty laundry. Aunt Sylvia left a voicemail. Blood is thicker than water. You'll regret destroying your sister. I saved them all. They weren't just angry words, they were proof of how deep Lena's manipulation ran. Torres pressed forward. He convened prep meetings for trial, lining up witnesses like soldiers on parade. We've got Eleanor, we've got Jennifer, we've got your testimony and the surveillance. Priya will walk the jury through the money trail. Tara will be on standby for trust law clarifications. And Noah, We'll need you to authenticate footage as chain of custody witness. Noah grinned. Happy to. Haven't had this much fun since Kabul. Priya smirked. Different battlefield. Same stakes. Laughed. I sat in the corner, absorbing it all. This wasn't about vengeance anymore. It was about accountability. Lena had played the long game, convincing herself she was untouchable. Now every move, every forged signature, every cruel word was stacked against her. And while she tried to scream witch hunt into microphones, the truth was louder. The grand jury had spoken. The public was turning. The walls were closing in. And Lena, for the first time in her life, had nowhere left to run. Thanksgiving came early that year, but instead of turkey and pie, my family served subpoenas and cold shoulders. By the time Lena's indictment hit, every branch of the Hayes clan had chosen a side, and the fracture lines were deeper than anything a holiday table could hold. At Mom's care facility, cousins gathered in hushed circles, debating whether I was a hero or a traitor. Some whispered that I'd humiliated the family name. Others admitted they'd always suspected Lena was too slick with money. Aunt Sylvia made her stance loud and clear. She cornered me in the hallway, her voice low but venomous. You've embarrassed us all, Jordan. Soldiers are supposed to protect family, not destroy it. I met her glare without blinking. Protecting family doesn't mean covering up crimes. She spat back. You sound just like your father when he refused to help my mortgage. Cold, heartless. I let her walk away. Arguing with her was like arguing with Lena, endless and toxic. But it wasn't just aunts and cousins. My younger brother, Caleb, finally admitted he'd known pieces of Lena's schemes. We sat on the back porch of Mom's house, the autumn air sharp, his beer untouched in his hands. She told me it was legal, he muttered. Said she was moving money around to protect it from taxes. I didn't ask questions. I kept my voice even. Did you sign anything? His eyes dropped. A few times. Papers, she said, were routine. I thought I was helping Mom. That sick feeling rose in my stomach again. Caleb, do you understand what that means? If your signature's on fraudulent transfers, you could be pulled in as a co-conspirator. His face went pale. Jesus. I didn't know. You'll need to come clean. Now. The agents will find it anyway. Better it comes from you first. He nodded slowly. Shame etched across his face. I'll talk to Torres. I'm not going down with her. The next blow came from Mom herself. On one of her rare lucid days, she confessed something I hadn't expected. Sitting up straighter than I'd seen in months, she whispered, Jordan, your sister threatened me. I leaned closer. When? Last spring. She said if I didn't sign the papers, she'd move me to a cheaper facility. Said she'd sell the house and put me somewhere less fancy. I was scared. The words cut deeper than anything Lena had done to me. Manipulating money was one thing. Threatening to rip away Mom's care was another. I recorded the conversation, with Mom's consent, and handed it to Tara that night. Tara's lips pressed thin as she listened. This isn't just financial abuse. It's coercion with direct threats. Judges despise that. If the jury hears this, Lena won't just get time, she'll get max time. Meanwhile, Lena's camp splintered. Her PR firm dropped her after the forged document debacle. Her boyfriend-turned-contractor was subpoenaed and promptly vanished, skipping town under a trail of unpaid bills. Even her lawyer started filing motions to withdraw from the case, citing irreconcilable differences. Still, Lena refused to bend. She started sending mass emails to the family, long screeds accusing me of betrayal. One subject line read, Jordan is destroying our family legacy. I didn't respond, but I saved every one. Evidence of harassment stacked higher every week. The real shock came from Jennifer. She showed up at the Phoenix Foundation office, eyes rimmed red, holding a flash drive. I found this in my email archive. I don't know why I didn't see it before. On the drive were chains of messages between her and Lena, where Lena explicitly instructed her to keep quiet about the Cayman account. One message read, If Jordan finds out, we both go down. Don't be stupid. 1. Jennifer looked at me, guilt heavy in her eyes. She used me, and I let her. I was so desperate to keep my debts hidden, I didn't question anything. I rested a hand on her shoulder. Owning up now matters. You've already shifted the case by cooperating. Priya, scanning the emails, looked stunned. This seals it. Intent, conspiracy, Obstruction, it's all here. Jennifer, you've just turned from liability into key witness. The family's internal war only grew louder. At Sunday service, one cousin publicly prayed for Lena, calling her a victim of Jordan's ambition. Another stood up after and countered, "Lord, give us strength to see the truth, even when it hurts." The congregation buzzed like a hornet's nest. Through it all, I kept my military calm. Training teaches you to hold formation under fire, even when bullets or words fly. My job wasn't to win hearts. My job was to protect Mom, expose the fraud, and let the law do the rest. Federal investigators worked overtime, stacking charges like sandbags. Torres confirmed it in a late-night call. With your brother's testimony, your mother's confession, and the emails from Jennifer, we're expanding counts. Lena's facing not just wire fraud but aggravated identity theft, obstruction, and elder coercion. Minimum sentencing just jumped. Tara added her own analysis. When the jury hears a mother threatened by her own daughter, the rest won't matter. They'll convict on principle alone. Lena must have sensed the walls closing in, because her next move was pure chaos. She filed a lawsuit against me personally, accusing me of defamation. The irony was so absurd, even her dwindling supporters laughed. Judges tossed it in a single hearing. But she still had one weapon left: family loyalty. Some cousins refused to testify, clinging to the idea that blood comes first. One uncle even threatened to boycott Christmas if I didn't drop everything. I told him flatly, Christmas doesn't cover stolen millions. The fracture was permanent. Lines were drawn in ink, not sand. That night, as rain hammered against my windows, I thought about the storm months earlier, the night Lena left me stranded, convinced she'd broken me. She believed humiliation was power. What she never understood was that discipline beats drama, every time. The family was splintered, yes, but the truth was whole, and no amount of manipulation could put it back under her control. The federal courtroom wasn't built for spectacle, but that didn't stop it from feeling like one. Oak benches stretched in rigid rows, fluorescent lights buzzed faintly above, and the seal of the United States hung heavy behind Judge Coleman's bench. The air carried that strange mix of polish and tension I'd only ever felt in briefing rooms before a mission. Everyone knew the stakes. Lena entered, flanked by her defense team, dressed in a navy blazer and pearls, hair styled to perfection. She smiled at the cameras in the hallway like it was a gala, but when she sat, her hands clenched in her lap. No amount of polish could hide the panic in her eyes. The prosecution started with Priya's charts. She took the stand like she'd been born for it, pointer in hand, walking jurors through Lena's financial footprint. Withdrawals here, wires there, receipts for Aspen jewelry stacked like dominoes. Every chart ended with the same conclusion. Lena drained money that wasn't hers. Is there any legitimate explanation for these transactions? The prosecutor asked. Priya didn't hesitate. Number, every dollar diverted benefited Lena directly or her associates. Not one transaction supported her mother or the trust. Defense counsel tried to shake her on cross. Isn't it possible you misread the statements? Priya raised an eyebrow. Not unless the bank also misread when it stamped Lena's signature on every withdrawal. The jury chuckled. That moment mattered. Then came Eleanor Pike. She shuffled to the stand, cane tapping, voice clear despite her age. She described Lena's visits, the promises of tax protection, the day she realized her late husband's account had been gutted. She pointed straight at Lena. That woman robbed me while smiling in my face. Lena's defense objected, but the judge overruled. The jury saw an elderly widow trembling with conviction. The damage was done. Jennifer testified next, nervous but resolute. She admitted to signing documents she didn't understand, then revealed Lena's emails urging her to keep quiet and warning, if Jordan finds out, we both go down. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Defense tried to paint Jennifer as unreliable, but the paper trail was undeniable. When it was my turn, I walked to the stand with the steadiness drilled into me from years in uniform. I laid out the storm night, Lena ordering me out of the car, the 37-mile gap, her mocking words captured on my phone. The jurors' faces shifted disbelief, then anger. I explained the surveillance, the threats to Mom, the coercion at the dining table. Then I looked directly at Lena. She didn't just take money. She preyed on family, on our mother, on neighbors who trusted her. She treated exploitation as her right. Lena's composure cracked. She muttered, loud enough for the jury to hear, "You've always been jealous." Judge Coleman's gavel hit hard. "Miss Hayes, control yourself." The defense's case was thin gruel. They paraded a few family members who claimed Lena was always generous, but under cross, everyone admitted they'd received gifts. Gifts paid for with stolen funds. Finally, Lena herself took the stand. She painted herself as the martyr, insisting she sacrificed her life for family while I played soldier. She wept, dabbed at her eyes, accused me of plotting against her since childhood. Then the prosecutor dropped the hammer. "Miss Hayes, do you recognize this email?" He read aloud. "If Jordan finds out, we both go down. Don't be stupid." The color drained from her face. She stammered. That was taken out of context. The jury didn't buy it. Closing arguments sealed it. The prosecution framed Lena as a predator cloaked in pearls, someone who weaponized trust. The defense rambled about family squabbles and misunderstandings, but it fell flat against months of documented fraud. When the jury filed out, the room was silent except for Lena's restless shifting. An hour later, they returned. The foreman stood. On count 1, wire fraud, guilty. On count 2, elder abuse, guilty. On count 3, conspiracy to commit fraud, guilty. On count 4, aggravated identity theft, guilty. The words landed like artillery. Lena's jaw dropped. She shook her head, whispering, "No, no, no." Judge Coleman's voice cut clean through the room. "Sentencing is set for 30 days from now. The defendant is remanded to custody pending judgment." Marshals stepped forward. Lena bolted upright, clutching at her pearls. "You can't do this. I'm the one who took care of everyone. She's lying. She's jealous." The marshals didn't flinch. They cuffed her wrists, pearls jangling against steel. Cameras flashed as she was led away, her shrieks echoing down the hall. I didn't move. I sat steady, hands folded, eyes forward. Soldiers don't cheer in victory, they endure. Outside, reporters swarmed again, microphones like bayonets. "Jordan, what's your reaction to the verdict?" I answered simply, "Justice isn't revenge. It's accountability." And that's what happened today. The clip played on every local station that night. Commentators debated family loyalty, military discipline, and elder protection. But in living rooms across the city, one thing was clear. Lena Hayes had finally fallen. 30 days later, sentencing day arrived. The courtroom was packed, victims, neighbors, reporters, even distant relatives, drawn by morbid curiosity. Judge Coleman read slowly, each word deliberate. Considering the severity of the fraud, the number of victims, the betrayal of fiduciary duty, and the threats against her own mother, the court sentences the defendant, Lena Hayes, to 12 years in federal prison, followed by restitution in the amount of $3.9 million. Hell. Lena slumped as if the air had been punched from her lungs. She tried one last desperate appeal. "Please, Your Honor, my mother needs me." Judge Coleman didn't blink. "Your mother needed you when you chose to exploit her. Sentence stands." The gavel fell. I felt no triumph, only relief. Relief that Mom's care was safe. Relief that neighbors like Eleanor would see restitution. Relief that Lena could no longer hurt anyone else. When the marshals led her away for the last time, her eyes locked on mine. Hatred burned there, but beneath it was something else, disbelief. She'd never imagined her empire could crumble, but it had. And the soldier she tried to break in a rainstorm was the one who finished the fight. The morning Lena was transferred to federal custody for good, I stood in the driveway of my house, the house she'd once tried to take from me, and let the silence sink in. For the first time in years, I didn't have to brace for her voice on the phone or her shadow lurking at family gatherings. It was just stillness, and that stillness felt earned. Mom's health had stabilized with proper care. Without Lena pressuring her for signatures or parading paperwork under her nose, she seemed lighter, almost more herself. She still had memory lapses, but she laughed more, hummed old hymns under her breath, and sometimes called me my soldier girl, with a grin that carried all the love Lena had buried beneath manipulation. Noah stopped by often, dropping off coffee and updates like it was still a mission brief. He'd joke that I ran my living room like a TOC, maps and case files spread across the coffee table, but he didn't complain. Truth was, I wasn't done fighting. Lena might be behind bars, but I'd seen too much to think it ended there. Priya confirmed it with numbers. Jordan, the amount of elder financial abuse out there is staggering. Your sister isn't an outlier. She's a symptom. She slid over another chart. Cases documented across the Midwest. Veterans, widows, people with dementia. It's a battlefield, but no one's calling it that. She wasn't wrong. Every testimony in Lena's trial echoed the same theme. Predators hiding behind smiles, exploiting trust until there was nothing left. Sitting in that courtroom, I realized my story wasn't unique. That was both terrifying and motivating. So I called Tara. She'd been juggling her caseload, but when I pitched her my idea, she leaned forward like I'd handed her a live wire. A nonprofit, structured like a mission, legal aid for seniors and veterans, backed by forensic accounting, with security protocols to keep predators from retaliating. We named it the Frontline Ledger Initiative. It was Priya's phrase ledger for financial truth, frontline for the fight we knew it would be. Noah secured a rundown brick building on the edge of downtown. It wasn't pretty, but it had good bones. Solid walls, a basement that could serve as a secure file room, and enough space for offices and a community meeting area. He and a few guard buddies volunteered weekends, tearing up old carpet, rewiring outlets, and even welding a steel door for the back entrance. If someone wants to mess with this place, they're going to need more than a crowbar, he said, wiping sweat off his forehead. Priya set up rows of locked cabinets and encrypted servers. Tara drafted incorporation documents and lobbied for state recognition. I handled recruitment, reaching out to fellow vets, retired accountants, and legal interns who wanted a mission that mattered. The first client came through the door before the paint was dry. An older Marine named Carl shuffled in, hat in hand, explaining how his son-in-law had drained his pension while he was in rehab for knee surgery. He didn't even know where to start. We knew where to start. Priya traced the accounts. Tara filed injunctions. Noah escorted Carl to the bank to secure what was left. When Carl got his first reimbursement check, he cried harder than I'd ever seen a Marine cry. He left the office saying, "Feels like I got my rifle back." Word spread fast. Within 6 months, the Frontline Ledger Initiative was fielding calls from across 3 states. Some cases were small checking accounts skimmed by caregivers. Others were massive trusts, siphoned by corporate advisors with flashy suits. Each time, our team treated it like an operation. Gather intel, secure evidence, neutralize the threat. Jennifer showed up one afternoon, sober, holding a box of donuts like a peace offering. She asked if she could help. For a second, the old instinct flared distrust, anger, but then I saw the way her hands shook when she admitted, "I know what it's like to be used. Maybe I can stop someone else from making my mistake." We started her on phones, then let her co-lead support groups. Surprisingly, she had a gift. She could talk to women in bad situations in a way that got through when lawyers and soldiers couldn't. Her own shame became a bridge, and I couldn't ignore that. Even Mom contributed. On her clear days, she'd sit in the office, folding brochures or humming while we typed reports. Clients adored her, not for anything she did, but for the simple reminder that dignity mattered. By the end of the first year, we'd recovered nearly $4 million for victims. Eleanor Pike herself became our biggest donor, smiling as she handed me a check at a community event. "That girl, your sister, thought she ruined me. Instead, she helped build this." Not everyone celebrated. I got anonymous calls, vague threats muttered through static, even a suspicious car idling outside the office once. But fear didn't land the way it used to. I'd been abandoned in a storm by someone who claimed to love me. Some stranger with a burner phone didn't even register. The real impact came in the faces. A widow clutching her reimbursement check like it was oxygen. A veteran realizing his retirement was safe again. A daughter who no longer feared her mother's house would be sold out from under her. Those were the victories. On the 18-month mark, a letter arrived. Prison stationery. Lena's handwriting still crisp, as if she thought neat cursive could erase steel bars. 4 pages of venom, blaming me, accusing me of orchestrating everything, claiming I'd trapped her. The final line read, "I hope you learned your lesson." I framed it, hung it right in the conference room next to the mission statement of the initiative. When visitors asked about it, I told them the truth. I had learned my lesson. I learned that cruelty festers in silence, but it collapses under light. I learned that planning and discipline, the same skills the army taught me, apply just as well to family betrayal as to combat. And I learned that family doesn't just mean blood. Family is the team that shows up when you're left in the rain. One night, long after everyone left, I stood in the quiet office, looking at the wall of thank you notes. Dozens of cards, scribbled by shaky hands, taped up like medals. Each one proof that what Lena meant for destruction had turned into a mission bigger than her. The rain tapped against the window, steady and unthreatening this time. I thought back to that night Lena left me stranded, certain she'd taught me about power and obedience. In truth, she had taught me something else entirely, that storms reveal who you are. She chose greed, I chose discipline, she chose manipulation, I chose accountability. And in the end, that choice didn't just free me, it built a shelter for others. The soldier she tried to break was the one who carried the fight forward. And the initiative standing tall downtown was living proof that no matter how vicious family betrayal gets, justice can be louder. Looking back, I know Lena thought leaving me in that storm would end me. She believed fear would keep me quiet, that shame would keep me in line. What she never understood is that soldiers don't fold when things get hard. We regroup, we adapt, and we fight smarter. Her betrayal gave me clarity, and that clarity built the Frontline Ledger initiative. Every time I see another veteran or senior walk out of our office with their life back in their hands, I know the storm didn't break me. It made me stronger, and it gave me a mission worth more than revenge. It gave me purpose.